What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Johnwicksnipin TV. Today, we're going to talk about the NBA and the devastating injury to Jayson Tatum last night in the playoff game against the Knicks. So it seems like early indications are that Jayson Tatum may have suffered an Achilles injury, which is a very difficult injury to overcome. I know he's young enough and he could probably make a full recovery, but you would assume that the Knicks probably will take this series unless, uh, brings me to another point, though, with the NBA. They've lost a lot of ratings recently. I don't know. Ever since Adam Silver took over, I don't know that the league has head in the right direction. There's been too many rule changes. The game's a lot softer. Um, I don't know that he was the best choice or that he's done the best job. In addition to all that, you also had the lottery. We had the lottery last night, and somehow the Dallas Mavericks wound up with the first pick overall. They'll probably pick Cooper Flag. Seems to be the best talent coming out of college, but it's a little strange that the first pick overall went to the Dallas Mavericks. I understand that it's a lottery. There's a chance, even if there's 1%, 2%, there's a chance that a team that has such a low chance can get a first overall pick like that. But I'm of the belief at this point that because the NBA's ratings have gone so far down recently, and you can probably put that on that they just get involved in too much other things other than basketball, too many different agendas, and using that platform to do too many other things other than just keeping the sport competitive and interesting to the watcher. As some of you may know, even LeBron James came out and said that he thought it was kind of funny that, when he was coming out of high school and out of Cleveland, Ohio, or Akron, Ohio is where he was coming out of. But, the team is obviously the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they somehow got the first overall pick. And it just seems like every so often the right team gets the first overall pick. So at this point, I assume that because the ratings have been so low and there's so much money involved that they have to manage the entire platform, the entire NBA, by way of fixing a lottery to make sure a particular team, like the Dallas Mavericks, were just purchased from Mark Cuban. They made such a bold move by getting rid of Luka Doncic, and the GM took such a hit regarding that, and it's like now kind of being rewarded for it. On the West Coast, you had the Minnesota Timberwolves beat the Golden State Warriors. Looks like that series is done. From what I'm seeing, Steph Curry's not going to make it back for Game 5. I don't think that they can win in Minnesota without Steph Curry. So that's pretty much a done deal there. Like I said, I just haven't had the same interest. I'm part of that lower ratings group. Uh, just don't have the same interest in the NBA like I used to. I just feel like there's just too much going on, too many different rule changes, too much managing by the referees, and it's just not as interesting to watch anymore. So, in my opinion, we'll have I think Denver's still going to come out of that OKC. I still got to give them credit for their championship pedigree. I feel like they'll probably lose in OKC for Game 5, come back, win in Denver, and then they'll go into the seventh game, which I believe they have experience on their side. They'll pull out Game 7 in OKC, so I believe you'll have Minnesota and Denver in the Western Conference, and then you'll have the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks in the Eastern Conference. But this is kind of why it's very, very difficult for me to allow, at least in my opinion, for there to be any GOATs that have come out in the last, probably since the 90s, obviously since Jordan, and putting them into a debate. I mean, this league is just, they just want to run up numbers. The stats are out of control. Of course, someone's going to outscore LeBron's all-time scoring list just because, it's easy to get 30 points at this point, 30, 35. SGA averages over 30 points pretty much for his entire career. So I hope the NBA can kind of hopefully clean things up. Maybe they got to replace Adam Silver, toughen the league back up, and make it watchable again. It's just not as watchable as it used to be. I remember in the 90s really getting excited for some of these matchups and some of these rivalries. You don't really have these rivalries anymore. Um, so that's my little update on sports, particularly in the NBA today. Uh, Join me later. I'm going to talk about AI and how it's starting to change the world, and want to discuss that with you guys. John Wicksnipin is out. Thank you for watching.